All right, so we've got some questions here. The first question is reading: determine the present value of a house whose worth is 2.5 million in 10 years' time, given that appreciates annually, it appreciates by 10% annually. So here, colleagues, here, basically what we're being asked is one find the value of this house today. Okay, and that's the present value. Okay, this comes from the time value of money topic. So, colleagues, what is the formula for the present value? How do we find the present value? Let me see if we still remember. Mr. Manasseh, do you remember how to get Madam Eliza? It has the years in 10 years' time. So, this is the formula, yes. Present value equals future value, open brackets, 1 plus R. R is your discount rate because whenever you're converting a future value into a present value, we call that discounting. Okay, so our discount rate is represented by R. Are we okay with that? Yes. Mr. Manasseh, are you okay with that? Okay. So here our future value is 2.5 million. Open brackets, 1 plus our discount rate is this 10%. So 10% in decimal places as a decimal is 0.1 to the power negative. So I say in 10 years' time. So the power negative 10. So we need to get our calculators. Let me just put this properly. Yes. What is, so add 1 plus 0.1, we get 1.1. So we say, what is 1.1 to the power negative 10? Let's get our calculators because remember, this course is calculation intensive. So we need to be pressing those calculators. Yes, what is 1.1 to the power negative 10? I believe everyone came with a calculator. Madam Eliza, did you come with a calculator? Mr. Manasseh? Okay, as you are finding. Madam Eliza, 1.1 to the power negative 10, what did you get? Let me also use my calculator so that I make sure we're all getting same figures. So for me, 1.1 to the power negative 10, I've got 0.385. Okay. Then we multiply this by 2.5 million. Mm-hmm. Just hold on. 962,500. Okay, may I round it off mine? I used 0.385. All right. Okay. Mr. Manasseh, have you found your calculator? Are we getting this value? May I just rounded it off, but yes, 962,500. All right. Question number 2. Identify and briefly explain two determinants of price elasticity of demand. So before we find these two determinants, what is price elasticity of demand? What is price elasticity of demand? Mhm. What is price elasticity of demand? Madam Elisa, Mr. Manasseh. Okay. Price elasticity of demand is how quantity demanded responds to changes in price. Okay, colleagues? How quantity demanded responds to changes in price. So, price elasticity of demand can either be elastic or inelastic. So, colleagues, this word elasticity, just think of responsiveness, okay? How something responds. That's the elasticity. Okay, so here it's how quantity demanded responds to changes in price. Okay, so when quantity demanded resp- has a great response to price, we call that demand elastic. Okay, when quantity demanded has a great response or is very responsive to price, it means demand is elastic. What do I mean? For example, if price, remember the law of demand. What is the law of demand? Price and quantity demanded have got an inverse relationship, right? So if price increases just by, let's say, 1%, and demand, let's say, because remember when price increases, demand goes down, right? So if price increases by 1%, and let's say quantity demanded drops by, let's say, 20%, this is elastic demand. This is an example. Okay. Okay. Whenever the percent change for quantity demanded, just think of it like this. Whenever the percent change for quantity demanded is greater than the percent change for price, demand is elastic. Have we got that? Can we write that down? Mr. Melissa and Mr. Manasseh, whenever the percent change, whenever the percent change for quantity demanded, okay, whenever the percent change for quantity demanded is greater than percent change for price, demand is elastic. Yeah. So if let's say for example price drops by 3%, you find quantity demanded will rise by 30%. That's also an example of elastic demand. Because quantity demanded is very sensitive to price. So it means it will respond. Even to small changes in price, it will respond. That is elastic demand. Just hold on, correct something. All right, so yes, yeah. Colleagues, so that's when demand is elastic. Now, when demand is inelastic, means quantity demanded doesn't respond to changes in price. No, doesn't. The response is not great. Okay, there's little response when price changes. Okay, there's a little response when price changes. Okay, inelastic demand when quantity demanded has a little response to price. Okay, so for example, if price increases by 10%, okay, let's say price increases by 10%, but you find quantity demanded, let's say to drop maybe, let's say by 2%. That's inelastic demand when quantity demanded has little response to changes in price. Okay. We're looking at this question here for price elasticity of demand. So we said price elasticity of demand is how quantity demanded responds to changes in price. Okay. How quantity demanded responds to changes in price. And we said it can be of two forms. It can be elastic, where quantity demanded has a great response to changes in price, or demand can be inelastic when quantity demanded has a little response to changes in price. So now this question is asking us to identify and explain two determinants of price elasticity of demand. Okay. So the first determinant of price elasticity of demand, just make space here. is number one, availability of substitutes. Okay. If there a good has a lot of substitutes, then demand is elastic. Okay. Think of this. Let's look at soft drinks, right? Coca-Cola has got many substitutes. So if the price of Coca-Cola increases even by 1%, no, okay, not 1%, maybe say the price of Coca-Cola increases by 10%, people are going to switch and buy cheaper drinks. Okay, because there are a lot of substitutes. So people can do without Coca-Cola. They don't need to be subjected to the price increment. So they'll switch and buy other goods. So you find when the price of Coca-Cola rises by 10%, you find the quantity demanded might drop by a big amount, maybe 20%, 30%. Okay, because people have buying the cheaper soft drinks. People are buying the cheaper. So if there are more substitutes around, demand is elastic. Any questions on that? So if a good has a lot of substitutes, then demand is elastic. If there are few substitutes, like for example salt, then demand is inelastic because when you increase the price of the good, people can't switch it with other goods. Okay, they cannot switch it with other goods. So they'll be forced to still buy the same good. Best example is salt. Okay, salt has got very few substitutes. I don't think there's any substitute for salt. So I can imagine if the price of salt went up, you still have to buy salt. Very few people can do without salt. So I find quantity demanded of salt won't really drop because people still need the salt. Are we okay with this? Any questions? Excuse me. Hello. Yes, yes, yes. Then when the percent change of quantity demanded is less than the percent change of price, then demand is inelastic. Those are just some pointers for you to be able to see whenever you're dealing with such questions, because you'll be usually calculating percent changes. So as you're calculating your percent changes, you'll be able to see, okay, the percent change of quantity demanded is less than the percent change of price, then demand is inelastic. Okay, the second determinant of price elasticity of demand is if whether goods are a necessity, okay, If a good is a necessity, like medicine, think of cancer medicine, okay? It's a necessity. You need that medicine to survive. Okay, demand will be inelastic. Okay, demand will be inelastic. Why? Because if the price, if even though you increase the price of that good, okay, the person will still needs that good to survive. So they'll still have to buy. It's either a life or death situation in this example. So the person will still have to buy. Okay. So if a good is a necessity which you need to survive, demand will be inelastic. Now, if a good is a luxury, okay, it's something you can do without. Okay, it's not a necessity. Then demand is inelastic. So if a good is not a necessity, then demand is elastic. Meaning if the price of that good goes up, you can even stop buying it. You won't lose that much. Okay, you can live without it. So yeah, you can live without it. So when the price goes up, you can stop buying it. Okay, or you buy less. Yeah. Yes. Any questions? Yes, that's about the elasticity. Using clearly labeled graph to illustrate your answer, describe the implication on demand and price changes when price elasticity is infinite. Price elasticity is infinite. So this is what it means. This is the graph first. This is demand. This is price. This is quantity. This is when price elasticity is infinite. So here, basically, what is meaning is that quantity demanded is very, very, very sensitive to changes in price. Okay, if you increase this, I believe you will remember this from a perfect competition market structure. If you remember in a perfect competition, if you try to increase the price even just by a little amount, you're going to lose all your customers. The same with price elasticity when it's infinite. You just increase price even by one way, people are going to go to the others and you lose a lot of customers, a great amount of customers. Okay, so when price elasticity is infinity, it is very sensitive. Okay, very, very, very sensitive to changes. Quantity demanded is very, very sensitive to changes in price. Even a 0.1% increment in price, 0.1 increment in price, you're going to lose a big customer base. Any questions? Kaoma works for Golden Insurance Company where he gets a monthly income of 20,000. After years of experience, Kaoma decides to open his own insurance company. However, company policy cannot allow him to retain his work in the company while at the same time running a private company, dealing with the same type of business as his workplace. Thus, he can only choose one of the two. If Kaoma chooses to open the company, he would only make 200,000 in the first year and 300,000 in the second year, as he would be new in the industry. So, question one. What is Kauma's opportunity cost in the first year if he decides to start the insurance business? Okay, colleagues, first we have to understand what is an opportunity cost. Okay. Foregone alternative, yes. Any other definition? How about the value of what you give up whenever you make a choice? The value of what you give up whenever you make a choice. So here, he's made a choice to start his business. So what is he giving up? This monthly income of 20,000. So in a year, what is his monthly income? What is his yearly income? 20,000. So the opportunity cost is the yearly income from the job, which is 20,000 a month times 12 months. Yes, 240,000. So this is his opportunity cost. He's given up this 240,000 for choosing to start the business. Any questions? What is Kauma's opportunity cost for both first and second years combined if he decides to stay at Golden Insurance Company? So if he decides to stay working here, he's going to give up this 200,000 you'd have made in the first year and this 300,000 you'd have made in the second year. So in total, it's 200,000 plus 300,000 and gives you 500,000. So this is the opportunity cost. It's 500,000 you would have made in 2 years. Any question? Mhm. No, because you're focusing on what is the total value of what is given up. So if when you subtract, you're not talking about the total value. Kylie isolating each choice. And then you're saying what is the value